We are back.
What's up?
What's going on, Jess?
What's up, Kev?
So, we apologize for the slight delay in going live. We ran into a minor technical snafu, but
Yes.
we have
But
resolved it.
The mastermind behind all of our technical issues fixed it.
That would be me, in case anyone was wondering.
But we also want to apologize for missing a show last week. It's been a rough couple of weeks. There's been some things going on, and stuff had to be taken care of.
Some attention was needed elsewhere, and as much as we want to try to get together and do this every week, sometimes real life happens to get in the way, and there's no way to avoid that. Things happen unexpectedly, and we deal with it as it comes, but we try every week to try to make this possible, and
yes,
sometimes it just not in the cards.
Hopefully, once situations change, things will be a little bit different. Maybe we'll even be able to add a couple of shows a week, but for right now, we're doing the best that we can.
Yes, we are.
And so we apologize, but anyway, and there's a phone on the floor. Let's get to the topic at hand.
Let's
here.
get to the thick of it.
Right.
So, as everybody who listens and watches these streams and whatnot, we all watch television. You watch television.
I do. Not as much as I used to, and not as much as I'd like to, but I do watch it.
I watch a lot of television. However, in all full transparency, real friends, real talk, I watch a lot of the same things.
So do I. I'm like a binger, and I will binge the same series over and over and over again. It's horrible.
Like, you can attest to this because you've seen it firsthand. How many times I've watched Arrow back.
Or how many times have I watched the first 3 seasons of Sons?
It's funny that you only go to the first 3 seasons.
I can't, because it upsets me after the 3rd season.
Why? Because it gets fucking real as hell.
It does, and I don't like it. Like, I like it when it's like all little La La Land, and everything's all nicey nice and, Jackson Tara forever. Like, I can't.
When everything was charming.
Right.
Right. But throughout our childhood and adulthood and teenage years, there have been several shows that have really captivated us, and certain scenes and storylines that played out over the years have really impacted us and gotten so ingrained in our heads that we can tell you the moment that we watched it and how it made us feel, and there's so many, but we're gonna try to work all this in an hour, but
it's gonna be hard. I mean, I feel like all the topics that we touch on are things that need to be done, like, not once, not twice, sometimes maybe even 3 times, because you can't possibly cover, like, we talked about music one episode, and it was like, you can't, after we were done, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe we didn't mention this, and we didn't mention that, and it's just, these are like infinite things,
infinite conversations,
right?
And this is what we do. Like, we'll have these conversations together, or whether it's over the phone. This is why we decided to do this podcast, because we'd have these conversations, and I've literally been in a group of people where I'm having this conversation, like with Jerry or whatever on the train, and people will get in our conversations and be like, yeah, man, that was awesome, or whatever. I remember Jerry one time had a full-on conversation about why unicorns existed with a woman on the train, because she was trying to say that unicorns didn't exist. And Jerry very, calmly and succinctly told her, why unicorns existed. Why do unicorns exist or not exist anymore? Because unicorns are too fast and Noah couldn't catch them. There you go.
Okay.
And you can't argue with that, because,
no.
I mean, let's be real. Is Noah alive to dispute these claims?
Absolutely not.
There you go. So.
But anyway. So.
What would you say was the one... Okay, if you had to choose one. Sorry. If you had to choose just one TV moment that gripped you, that made you, like, shake, sob, angry, like, you wanted to jump through the screen, and you wanted to like, you're looking at me like really, like, this is not, like I'm putting you on the spot.
Like, is this a thing? How do you choose just one?
That's true.
You can't choose just one. I mean, I can give you a couple examples of things that have done that for me.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of them happened during Sons.
I agreed.
A lot of them happened during Sons. And if those of you listening, who I'm sure everyone listening knows what Sons is, but for people who may listen in the future, who maybe don't watch a lot of TV, Sons of Anarchy, awesome show.
You
FX.
can catch it. You can catch it on Hulu or the FX app. You can no longer watch it on Netflix. Thanks, Disney.
Okay, so Opie's death. Opie's death. I mean, anyone who has watched Sons will know that Opie's death was probably... I'm not going to say it's one of the first oh my god moments in Sons, because when his wife got shot in the head, that was also an oh my god moment, but...
It didn't have the same impact.
It didn't have the same impact because Opie was a character that everybody grew to love. Like, everyone loved Ope.
And he had been through the shit, though.
Right. He had been through so much. Like, you just wanted to see him succeed.
Before we continue, I'm just gonna, if anybody...
There's spoilers. Spoiler alert.
Right. If anybody's listening and you have not watched Sons of Anarchy, I suggest you come back to this episode after you've completed it, and you also need to question your life choices as to why you have not watched it yet. I'm just saying.
But anyway, so that was like, you know, Opie was such a character that had been put through so much that you just wanted to see everything work out for him. Like, you wanted him to have his fairy tale ending with Lila. And, dude, I mean, and the way he went out was so...
heroic.
Oh my God. Like, no, I got this.
So here's the thing. Opie's death, yes, it affected me. It did. However... it didn't have that, like, oh my god moment, because...
I guess we kind of knew it was coming, but still.
For two reasons, I kind of knew it was coming. One being that he had already been through so much. And also, and I want to touch on this also, at some point during this conversation as well, Twitter kind of ruined it for me, because they kind of... well, Kurt Sutter kind of ruined it for me on Twitter by stating that, you know, there is going to be a character death in this episode. And the only one that made sense to me was Opie, because he had already been through so much.
Like, how much more are you going to put this poor guy through? Like, how are you going to make these
viewers... The only other thing that they could have done was that, like, killed his kids.
Yeah, that's true. Because he had pretty much lost everyone else.
He lost his wife.
He lost his father.
To fucking Clay.
That was one of the best ever episodes, is when Clay gets it right in the neck. But anyway.
No, see, I actually liked Opie's confrontation with him at the clubhouse more than that scene. I knew it was coming. That I knew Jax was gonna kill him.
Of course.
I didn't know Jax was gonna do everything else that he did in that episode by murdering half the fucking Irish, kings. But yeah. I knew Clay was eventually gonna get it. There was way too much shit happening. But also from a writing standpoint, because as some of you may or may not know, I do tend to delve into the writing arts.
He tends to start things and not finish them. Anyway.
They're all finished in my head, I'm just saying. Like, I have complete...
That's great. Can you put it onto paper?
I have complete stories written. I have a 5-book series that's written and ended.
Okay, we're getting off topic here.
Sorry.
And I don't want to spend the whole time talking about Opie's death scene, because there's other scenes in there, and actually Smalls has chimed in here a little bit in the chat, and I want to talk about Tara's death.
Okay. So for me,
that was the most oh my god moment in Sons.
All right. So here's I'm watching this scene, right? And she's got her head in the fucking sink. She's like drowning her, right? Mm-hmm. And she picks up this fork, this what do they call like a chicken
A
fork?
barbecue fork.
Okay. So she picks this up and she starts stabbing her, right? And I'm going, oh man, I'm like, she's stabbing in her shoulder. And then I'm looking at to where the next hit came from, and it's in her fucking skull. And I was like, oh my god. Oh my god.
I know. Oh my god, Tara's dead. Like, oh my god.
And like the blood is fucking spewing out from the back of her fucking skull. And I'm, oh my god. That moment had a very similar effect to me. I want to touch on something that I experienced. Okay, the first really oh my god moment that left me like took my fucking breath away. And I watch a lot of dramas. I watch soap operas. Not ashamed to admit it. And the one scene that really fucking got me, season 4 finale, Dexter.
Oh, I didn't see it. I didn't watch Dexter at all.
What?
Yeah, so I can't relate.
I can't even tell you the story now. Are you
No,
serious?
you can't, because I will probably watch it now.
Bullshit. You can skip season 3. Season 3 sucked. Sorry, Jimmy Smits, but it was a shit season. It wasn't Jimmy's fault. I mean, we love Jimmy Smits. We love Nero Padilla.
Of course.
But, God, really? I can't believe you just did this to me.
I'm sorry.
I waited all week to talk about this. Wow.
I apologize.
All right, well,
all right,
shit,
all
I
right,
guess moving on.
Moving on.
Okay, I have a question, and I touched on this with Jerry. What moment in TV did you think, nah, man, that's too far? Like, that's too much. That's, like, whoa, dog. Too much. It has to have at least been something. There's got to be some. I have one.
I have a couple, I think. And I mean, I don't know if this would be everyone's like, oh my god, this is too much moment, but for me, it was.
Okay.
Watching Tig's daughter burn alive.
Okay.
That was a bit much.
Beautiful. I'm glad you brought that up because it kind of brings me back to the moment that I had with Dexter, okay?
Okay.
There was the and thank God I can like express these feelings. So in that scene I'm watching that's the second scene that got me like holy shit. What? Whoa.
What just happened? Like, did we really just watch her burn alive?
Now don't get me wrong. Now Tig was a bastard, okay? He was. He did everything Clay told him to do, didn't give a shit, and yeah, okay, he felt remorse or whatever. But in all honesty, I didn't give a shit about his remorse. He fucked up. He went off the rails, and that's what started everything off with Damon Pope, and that's the reason that
Bobby died.
I mean,
and he was tortured before they killed him.
It was literally a chain reaction of events that
100%.
At the time, when this scene was happening, we didn't even know what was about to happen to Opie.
Right.
So then it was like. It's like, yo, fuck you, bro. You need that. You needed to watch your kid burn.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It still was like,
whoa,
holy shit, wow.
And I feel like in all of these instances, we just keep going back to Sons, but I think we're forgetting about one other show that has a lot.
I know where you're going with this.
Oh my god, moments.
I know where you're going.
3 words, people. Game of Thrones. I mean,
all right. So here's the story. Here's
listen. 2 words. Red Wedding.
Well, okay. So here's the thing with Game of Thrones with me. It took me a very long time to get through the first episode. Okay, I tried 3 separate times to get through it. And
I coached him, and every time he kept coming back to me saying, I can't do this. I just can't do this. And I said to him, please, I'm like, just get through the first 3 episodes, and I promise you, you're gonna love it.
It was like, so I'm watching the first episode, and to me it was boring. It was a lot of talk, not a lot of action. Then little Bran Stark gets pushed through a window. by Jaime Lannister, the King's Hand. Was he with the King's Hand at the time?
He was Hand to the King, yes.
Hand to the King. After he was banging his sister. Which...
Well, that's why he got pushed out the window.
Right. So, I was like, whoa, by the way, I totally love Lena Headey, so seeing her in that scene, I was like, oh shit, all right, you got me. I might be hooked on this. You know, there's Lena Headey half naked. I'm not
getting it. She was getting it.
I'm okay with that.
Even though she was having sex with her twin brother. Not just her brother, her twin brother.
Right.
I mean it's gross, but whatever.
Semantics,
fine.
Right?
But back then, incest was like a thing, so.
So, then Bran Stark gets thrown through the window. And I was like, okay, what happens next? Because now there's going to be a fucking firestorm of shit that goes down because this dude just threw little dude out the window. And so that kind of hooked me. I had already seen The Red Wedding. Because one of my friends, who was a big Game of Thrones fan, decided, he's like, yo, you got to see the scene. This show is awesome. You got to see the scene. And he puts on The Red Wedding. I had no idea who anybody was.
Okay, but that's the thing. So you may have already seen The Red Wedding, but it didn't mean anything to you until you started watching the show.
Right, but once I saw what the scene leading up to it, I knew
it was happening.
Right, so it was ruined for me.
But still, it had to be like a little bit of an oh my god moment anyway, because now you're invested in these characters.
Right, but the one thing that I had learned, because I think The Red Wedding happened in season 3, yes? Or was it season 2?
I think it was season 2.
Well, the one thing that I had learned about Game of Thrones was don't get attached to a character.
Oh, you can't get attached to any character in Game of Thrones. You never know.
You never know. So let's go even further back.
Okay.
Let's step into the DeLorean and go back in time.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm with it.
Mid-90s, maybe little late 90s. Beverly Hills 90210.
Okay, TV drama. Probably one of the first to come on the scene.
Right.
Okay, we were probably a little bit too young to even be watching that, but my mom won't let me watch it with her, so hey, what the fuck?
Exactly. So, now I'm kind of in the later seasons, which weren't all that great.
No, they weren't.
However,
another one that I will rewatch only up until a certain until a certain point.
Okay, the first gripping moment of that show for me was Jack McKay's death.
Okay.
When he's running out to the car.
Screaming.
Well, he wasn't screaming. He was trying to get his attention, and then the car blows up. And then he starts screaming.
Right.
Okay. That got me. I was like, whoa.
What about the death of his wife?
That was the next one. Where he's laying there on the floor with what the hell's her name? Rebecca Gayheart, who I think is gorgeous.
She is.
Okay. Laying there with her, dead in his arms, on his knees, in the floor, on the floor, screaming, and then fucking Jason Priestley comes around with his little stupid car, jumps out of the stupid little car, and looks at him, and he looks up at him, and he says, "Look what they did to her, Brandon."
Yep.
And I was like...
I could tear up a little bit just thinking about that, but anyway.
There are plenty of moments in TV, TV deaths are the ones that get you, okay?
Yes, I agree 100%.
In ER, there were 2 moments that stand out for me.
Okay.
Well, no, that's a lie. God damn it. There were a lot of seasons of that damn show.
There were a lot of seasons.
So, we'll start with season...
I haven't ever rewatched the series, but I think I'm going to. I've actually been thinking about it because it keeps popping up on my Hulu.
Definitely
So, I remember I did watch it when it was on the whole thing through, but I've never watched it again. So, it's been a long time. So
I've seen episodes here and there. My mom rewatches it every time that it's on TV and whatever. She'll watch the hour or 2 hours that it's on. Season 1, George Clooney beats up the dad who beats up his kid. Mm-hmm. Okay? That was yeah, get him, George. I've been a fan of George Clooney since The Facts of Life.
Right, me too.
Right. So, it's yeah, get him, George. Kick his fucking ass. Right. So then, Then you have the scene, I don't know what season it's in, where Mark Green gets attacked in the bathroom by the patient.
Yes.
And he gets stabbed. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was like holy shit, you know?
Yes.
It's fucking Anthony Edwards. It's Revenge of the Nerds.
Duh.
Right?
Gilbert.
I don't...
His name was Gilbert.
Okay, I don't recall seeing the movie, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. So then you flash forward a little more, and then there's the fucking chaos that ensued with Lucy Knight and Noah Wile's character, John Carter?
Yes.
And all that shit that took place there, where she's stabbed, he gets stabbed, falls on the floor, sees her on the floor, and she dies, he lives, he becomes a freaking drug addict, and like all this crazy nonsense. Then you have Romano, who loses his arm to the helicopter.
Yes.
Which was like,
I feel like all of these medical drama shows are just amazing. I mean, you're not a Grey's fan.
Nope.
Okay.
I watched some of like the... Like
First of all, if you like ER, I highly recommend Grey's. I think you really should watch it. No,
when it's over,
trust me when I tell you, you'll want to watch Grey's.
I'll binge it.
I'm not gonna get too into detail then if you're gonna binge it, but Grey's is another one of those medical dramas that will just have you like mouth open, oh my god, or completely in hysterics.
Okay.
Like I have been completely sobbing, like I'm talking nose snotting, like real cry, ugly cry, Kim K ugly cry. It's not it. Grey's is definitely one of those. I highly suggest Grey's.
As I mentioned before, I'm a fan of soap operas, and there have been a ridiculous ton of deaths on All My Children.
Well,
One Life to Live, General Hospital especially, because there's always, every, 3 years, there's a fucking serial killer. But there have been some, intensely, just gripping deaths on these shows. For me, one that stands out on One Life to Live was... Smalls will know what I'm talking about, was Jen Rappaport's death.
Okay.
She was found in her car, which had the tailpipe stuffed, and she was found by the love of her life, Rex Balsam. And he grabs her out of the car, and he's holding her, and he's crying. And then they play fucking Broken by Seether. And I was just like, oh, you guys are
You just ruined the song.
No. It wasn't fair. It broke me, man. I was like,
Broke you worse than Leo's death?
Okay, here's the thing with Leo's death. Okay, Leo from All My Children, Josh Duhamel. I didn't see Leo's death. I saw Leo's death later, after I had gone to the 2001 or 2002 All My Children convention in New York. Mm-hmm. And after I had met, majority of the cast, I met Susan Lucci, I met Cameron Matheson.
La Lucci.
God, that woman is fucking gorgeous. Timeless.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I met the character of the person who played Kendall, Alicia Minshew, who's, the coolest chick in, the entire world. Just saying, you know? I met so many of the cast, and I didn't exactly know certain things. I didn't know that at the time that Bianca had been raped.
Right.
So
that was probably, for me, the best maybe year or two of All My Children.
Oh, it went completely downhill from there.
Yes, it did. Because
of Charles Pratt Jr., and I'm calling people out by names because fuck you, Charles Pratt Jr. You suck. I hate him. With a passion. They really should have let me write for All My Children, One Life to Live in General Hospital. I would have... those shows would still be on. I mean, General Hospital's still going, but...
It's probably not as good as it used to be.
Oh, no. Hell no. Hell no. You watch what you say.
Anyway, moving on. What... Do you remember, the first show ever to make you tear up.
The first show ever to make me tear up.
I know exactly what show it was for me and what episode it was.
Damn. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I don't know. I've seen so many fucking TV shows.
Okay.
It's an unfair question.
The first time I ever cried from a show.
Mm-hmm.
Full House. The episode where Papuli dies.
You're gonna get small started
Even
now.
and I'm telling you, I can, as a grown, almost 37-year-old woman, I can still watch that episode of that show and cry.
I got it. I know what it was. It is a Full House episode. However, it's not the Papuli episode.
Which episode?
It's the episode where
I think I might know what you're talking about.
it was either Michelle or Stephanie, like, dealing with, like, their mother's death and, like, not understanding why they didn't have a mother. And Lori Loughlin, who played Rebecca Donaldson Katsopoulos, she went and talked to them, and I say them because I'm not sure which character it was, and she told them, you know, you have more than a mother. You have, you know, two uncles that, you know, love you and all that. And there was just something about the tenderness of that moment that, like, hit me in the feels. And yeah, I might have been like 6 or 7 or maybe 8. Well, I'll give it to 8, right? Mm-hmm. And it hit me, and I was like, and I cried. And I never cried to where, like, people would see me crying. Mm-hmm. It would just be like, it would hit me. Like, okay, the fact that I sat here and I've watched, like, The Fosters on Freeform alone was, like, the best thing for me.
Because you were able to just let it out.
Fuck yes. So many times. Like, when what the hell's her name? I forget it. When Steph tells Callie, like, why do you keep doing these things? When are you gonna learn that we're never gonna not love you? It's like, broken.
Yeah. Right.
Pick me up.
The feelings.
Pick me up. Glue me back together. Oh yes.
Smalls is answering because she knows everything there is to know about Full House.
Right.
So it was DJ apparently in that episode you were talking about.
Okay. See, I knew it was one of them. I mean, it had to be because there's only 3 girls, so it was either Stephanie, Michelle, or DJ. But let's talk about Full House for a moment. Did you watch any of the reboot?
I watched a few episodes of the first season and couldn't bring myself to watch anymore.
Okay. I watched the first season, much to my chagrin. I watched the second season, much to my chagrin. Candace Cameron, I hope you hear this. You need to learn how to
act.
Well, yeah. Your voice is irritating. It grinds into the I don't know what you've done to your voice. I don't know if that's how you're being directed to portray your voice. But, you know, maybe they can make her a mute. Like, could she have an accident? And,
I don't think that's going to work.
Like, no, it does. Because she doesn't need to be the highlight of the show. Leave it to Andrea Barber as Kimmy Gibbler. And we're good money. We don't need Candace Cameron and her annoying voice.
Okay, but the episode isn't about Candace Cameron's annoying voice.
No, I know, but it had to be brought up.
Here's the thing.
We brought up Full House.
I am an avid Full House fan. I watched it when I was a kid. I rewatched it when my younger sister was a kid because she loved it so much. I've seen every episode 3, 4, 5 times. There really was no need for a reboot. I mean, I understand how people who were fans would be excited about it because, hey, I was excited about it when I heard about it.
Right.
Until I watched the first few episodes, and I'm like, wow, was the acting really this bad when I was a kid?
It wasn't.
It wasn't. They got worse.
No. It's not the acting. It's Candace Cameron's acting. I've seen her in other things. I watched her in other, like, Lifetime movies. Her voice doesn't sound like that.
Lifetime movies, Hallmark Christmas movies.
Yes.
That Hallmark now plays year round. My mother's a happy person. I, on the other hand, am not.
I like the Hallmark Christmas
Oh, Jesus.
movies.
Of course you do.
Hey, listen. One of the actresses that I follow and communicate with very much on Twitter is in a lot of those in a lot of those Hallmark movies, Hallmark Christmas movies. She's currently filming one right now in Vancouver where it's snowing and they're supposed to be, a summer love movie. And she's constantly posting videos about how they're making it seem like it's summer when it's snowing. So, and that's Jen Lilly, who I absolutely adore, and I do hope to have her on this podcast at some point.
Okay, great.
All right. So, what other shows have impacted you?
Parenthood, 100%.
Okay.
I've had oh my god moments. I've had a lot of crying moments.
Okay.
I've
started
rewatched
watching.
it. I've rewatched it, so it's there for me. Let's talk about a great
Sex?
show
Oh.
that nobody, ever since it ended, nobody really talks about it anymore, and I feel like you should because it was so good.
Go on.
The Following.
Oh my god, yes.
The Following was an amazing freaking show. I mean, if you haven't seen it, you definitely should. It was really, really good, and it's something I haven't rewatched it, but I think I might.
Every time I would watch The Following, I knew that there would soon be a Facebook post from Smalls saying, "This show gives me agita."
Yes.
Without fail. That show was incredible. It was very, very well written. Let's put it this way. You have a guy who is a serial killer, a cult leader serial killer, right? In Joe Carroll. And in the last season...
Who is obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe.
Right, who is obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe. And the last season, Mr. Carroll gets executed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why is it, when that happens, and when that's happening, do we sit there and go, oh my god, like it's really happening?
Because
and we felt bad for him.
Because this show was a show that made you feel bad for the bad guy. You liked him. You wanted to keep him around.
Yes.
They made him a likable guy, which I guess was the point because serial killers are likable people, which is how they get their victims.
Right. Very
so it
Ted
was
Bundy-like, yeah.
It was really well written. I mean, this was a handsome guy. I mean, listen, this was the guy who from jail was able to create a following.
A cult.
Right.
A cult following, yeah.
And had people literally love him and kill for him. I mean, it was so freaking good. Like, every week I would watch the show knowing that I was going to have major anxiety the whole time because you never know what the hell's going to happen.
Were you sad to see it end?
No, because I felt like they couldn't go on anymore with it. I would have been happy to see it end after the second season. They just didn't end it properly to do that. Okay. I didn't think the third season was really necessary.
Well, that's where he gets executed.
My point. They should...
No, I think after he was executed and the, him, Kevin Bacon tracking down, the rest of the cult leader, the cult members and whatnot. Mm-hmm. After all that happened, I think it was the right time to end it. I think they did. I think if they had gone on longer, it would have turned to crap. And
right.
Because other than going and doing the same thing over, right. It's like
they couldn't really keep the show going after they killed off Joe Carroll because the show was really based around him and everything that was going on because of him. Right. So after he was done, the show was done.
Right. Okay, so what show and what death on a show did you think was like you're like, yes, like like I don't know the word I'm looking for.
Purple Wedding.
Purple Wedding. Game of Thrones? Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Right.
Spoiler alert, Purple Wedding. Watching Joffrey freaking die a slow and painful death from that poison was probably one of the most satisfying television moments I've ever had.
And let me tell you. Okay, we come to find out last season of Game of Thrones that what's her name? Olenna Tyrell is the one who orchestrated that whole thing.
Yep.
And that woman was G.
She was
to the max.
Yep.
She was like, all right, well, I did it. Get on with it because I know what you're going to do next. Like, she didn't cower. She didn't beg for her life.
No, and she sat there and she drank that fucking poison.
In front of...
Like a fucking G.
Yep.
She is everything I aspire to be. I'm sorry. She was like...
So you would drink the poison?
I would drink the poison.
All right. That's cool.
Listen. Think about the situation. What were her options?
Well...
She went out on her terms.
Right.
What were her options? Either she was going to sit there and drink the poison, or she was going to get killed by Jaime Lannister. So she drank the poison. She was like, you're not going to put your sword through me and kill me. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going out on my terms, like a G. Yeah, you know what? Your quote-unquote nephew, who's really your son, I made sure he died and didn't marry my granddaughter because he was a sick fuck. Just saying.
Yeah, that's intensely accurate. For me... There were a few. We got to go back to Sons for a moment.
Okay.
June Stahl.
Yes.
That was satisfying.
That was very satisfying.
But I almost felt bad for her.
Oh, I didn't feel bad for her at all. She was a cunt.
I did.
She was a cunt. I'm sorry. She caused all that shit. Opie's wife was dead because of her.
True.
Okay. She would have thrown Jax under the bus if Jax wasn't smart enough to disclose to the club everything that was going on.
True.
So he would have been murdered because of her had things gone differently.
She was the reason his son got kidnapped.
She was the reason his son got kidnapped. She killed her partner.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
she was a fucking twat. And I don't care. Listen, I'm sorry. I apologize for my vulgarness, but she was. And let's not forget another satisfying moment having to do with her.
When Otto slammed her face into the...
When Otto slammed her fucking face right into that table multiple times. That was also great.
I'm gonna bury these assholes.
Anyway,
right.
She was a horrible character, and when she got her face slammed in, I rejoiced, and when Opie unloaded a clip into the back of her head, I rejoiced. Yep. Oh, Jimmy O.
Oh my god, that was satisfying.
Jibs getting his revenge on Jimmy O. Yep. That was also satisfying.
Yep. There's so many. And I can't even talk about one that I have in mind because you didn't see the damn show.
Game of Thrones.
Which one? Well, come on. That's unfair.
Oh my god, what was his name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Ramsay Bolton.
When Ramsay Bolton got eaten by his own dogs.
Yep. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
That was very satisfying.
So earlier we talked about moments that we thought were taken a little too far. There's one for me that stood out heavily where and to this day I haven't turned on the show since. Mainly because I don't give a shit about it anymore. Walking Dead. When they killed Glenn. You did see it, right? Otherwise, did I just ruin it for you?
No, I haven't watched the new season that's been on because I'm gonna binge it once it's done. But I am caught up, and that was I cried.
Okay, so
I cried.
So here's the thing. I'm a big horror movie fan. I've seen some of the goriest shit you'll ever see, like stuff that you probably won't ever see because it's probably illegal in multiple countries. Not because I'm a sick freak who like tortures animals. I own 2 beautiful cats that I love dearly. But because it was, all right, I guess there's no justification for why I watch these things, but I watch these things, so that's all that matters.
It doesn't matter. It's what you enjoy. I understand a lot of people's gripes about The Walking Dead.
It's not. It wasn't the gripes about The Walking Dead. It was the gripes about that scene, that death. I thought, you have a lot of kids who read these things, these comics and whatnot, and you're putting this. Yes, it's cable and whatnot, and there's shock factor, and we've seen Opie get his eye gouged out. We've seen torturous scenes, but there was something about that scene where this guy, Negan, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's an incredible actor.
Denny Duquette. Anyway, go ahead.
What?
You don't watch Grey's. Go ahead.
Oh. He was on there?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. So, there was something about this man, because you don't know much about him when you meet him in that scene.
You actually don't really know much about him until, like, a couple of seasons after he or even comes on. But anyway, go ahead.
So, you have this character who comes on, and he's literally just sitting there with these people, and he's torturing them.
Yes.
And he hits Glenn in the head with
Lucille.
with Lucille, his bat, barbed wire covered bat, and like doesn't give a shit about the fact that he's killing this guy, this poor innocent person who's just trying to survive.
Whose pregnant wife is sitting next to him,
and the eye pops out,
and he's making fun of him.
And to me, it was like, it was too far, and I thought for sure that people, like, the Parent Control Association, whatever the hell they called it, the ones who had all these issues with sons, didn't say a goddamn word about it.
Glenn's death was rough to watch. Really rough.
It kind of turned my stomach, and like I said, I watch gore. I'm not against gore. I'm not against watching Michael Myers slit people's throats and bash people's head in with the tail end of a hammer and all this like crazy shit. Jason chasing young innocent girls through the woods and
who fall and break their ankles.
Oh, always. Well, don't run through the woods, and you won't fall and break your ankle and get killed by Jason. But that scene was just like, I was like, I will not watch this again, and I don't think I have since.
It was hard to watch, and I gotta say, like, after that happened, for me, the show was kind of going downhill for me anyway, but it was a horrible scene to watch. It really was. Especially if you watched the show prior and you knew the whole Glenn and Maggie romance, and he gets hit in the head with a bat and his eyes popped out, and he's still, like, you could tell that he's, like, brain damaged, but he's still trying to tell Maggie that he loves her.
Right.
Like, it was heart-wrenching.
So now if we go back to Sons, there was a similar death in Opie's death, and he gets a pipe to the back of the head, right? Even that, as sick and
they didn't show it,
fucking twisted as Kurt Sutter is. I mean, he portrays himself biting off his own tongue and throwing it at a window.
He also gets it in the ass.
Well, okay, right. You gotta give it to Kurt, because he's the type of writer who's not ashamed or against, like, tormenting his own character that he's writing for.
Right.
Right? He tormented himself.
Right, he did. He absolutely did.
There could be some, psychological shit up there,
That
too.
was one of the most, oh my God, opening scenes of a season ever. Because that was season 1 of, that was episode 1 of season...
Episode 1, where he's getting it in the butt?
Yes.
6.
6?
Yep. So, another oh my God moment for me that got me, gripped me, almost had me in tears. I won't cry. I will not cry watching television. Not when there's other people around. Just saying.
Okay.
I'm a man. So, we saw in season 7 of Sons of Anarchy, when Jax found out the truth about Gemma and Tara's death.
Yes.
Okay? And he's sitting there in that jail cell. Now, it got me. I got chills. I got goosebumps. Yo, I got goosebumps talking about this, alright? When we saw him hold Tara and let out that cry, that right?
Yes.
It gets you and it hits you, right? But then you have him talking to this guy who he wanted so bad to trust him, and Juice just kept fucking up, right?
Juice just, I don't know.
So I don't think Juice was made out for the MC life, and that was evident.
He was too pretty.
Right. I'm a Puerto Rican from Queens. I know better Yiddish.
I speak better Yiddish.
So,
one of the best lines ever.
when he's sitting in that interrogation room and he's talking to Juice and he's trying to express to Juice what he's saying, like, you know, I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that, you know, my kid might have overheard something horrible, and
Right.
and he's tearing up, and Juice starts talking, and he tells him the story, right? And he's Juice is tearing, Jax is barely fucking keeping it together.
Ugh.
God bless you, Charlie Hunnam.
Oh my God.
God bless. I don't know how the fuck he did that, but God bless. And you see, and he doesn't say anything else, Jax, in that
Right.
scene, if you remember. He doesn't say anything to Juice. He doesn't say, why did you cover it up, blah, 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 or whatever. Juice tells him the story. Jax, you know, wipes his eyes, and he looks at him and he goes, I'll make sure it's quick. And that was it. The other best line, I gotta say, Juice had some fucking zingers.
He did.
And you know what
He
I'm
did.
going with. You know where I'm going. We want to know the truth. Gemma knows the truth. The truth about what? The truth about everything. Don't be an asshole. Trust me. In here, all I am is someone's asshole. Best fucking line ever.
Very true. Juice didn't have a good end.
No, but he kind of did it to himself.
He did do it to
couldn't
himself.
Deal with what you know. He probably should have just hung from the tree. The branch
Yeah.
probably shouldn't have broke.
Right.
I don't think Kurt did him any justice by fucking having the branch not break.
Well, Kurt kept him around for his own needs because he needed a fall guy for everything, and Juice was the perfect fall guy.
True. Well, that, I think, is...
Although Tig should have got it 1 or 2 times also.
I thought for sure he was going to a couple of
Oh,
times.
yeah, me too. That
Which-
guy was like a cat. He had like 9 lives.
Yeah. Probably killed cats, too, because he was nuts.
He really was. After he had sex with them.
Yeah.
He was
yeah.
crazy.
Yep. I feel like the entire
Has really been wrapped around
Sons
and Game of Thrones.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go to one of my shows. I know you haven't seen it yet, and you know we're working on it. You're a work in progress. On Arrow, there were so many scenes where, season 3, episode 1. I can't even tell you because you haven't watched the show yet.
It's hard. I feel like we didn't really think this through.
Well,
Because it's hard to discuss things of shows that the other one has never really seen.
there was, well, okay, I can kind of talk about this because this character's not dead, but she was dead, right? And at first, when it happens, you're like whoa, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's fucking Sarah Lance with fucking arrows through her, right? It's crazy, right? And you feel bad for Katie Cassidy's Laurel Lance, and then you have Paul Blackthorne's Lance. What the fuck was his name? Jesus. Captain Lance. Captain. What the fuck was his first name? Anyway, Captain Lance. So he's got this daughter who's dead that he doesn't know is dead. They keep it from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when he finds out, it just breaks him, and all this craziness. But then there's something that happens in season 4, I want to say.
Okay.
Yes, season 4. Yes. where Oliver Queen's sister is in a coma. And she's dying, okay? She's dying because she has this bloodlust, which was instilled upon her by Ra's al Ghul.
Okay.
And her father is able to get her this cure that would cure her bloodlust, okay?
Okay.
But in order to do so, he would have to give up his position of power as the leader of the League of Assassins. And he kind of betrays everybody and starts a war with other League members. And there's this confrontation between Oliver and Malcolm Merlin, played by the incredibly gorgeous John Barrowman. Okay?
Okay.
I love him. And they flip out. He flips out, and he's cursing, and not cursing, what am I saying? He's flipping out and yelling at Oliver, and there was this moment where he yells, and I'm just, I get chills, because it was such a powerful moment. And it's it solidifies his scumbaggery. Your daughter's life is on the line, but you're too power hungry to give up the cure. But I digress. I think we should let's talk about the Fosters. We didn't touch on that a lot.
We didn't.
I think the Fosters was an underrated show. I agree. I don't think it got as much talk as it should have.
I agree.
Even the new series, Good Trouble, gets me.
I like the show, however, I don't like the way they do it.
It's
the flashbacking and it's annoying.
Okay,
it's annoying.
The conceptual process of it is a little irritating because you don't know what you're watching. And
I mean, I get I thought it was a thing that just happened once in the first episode or two, but now it's every episode. It's it's annoying.
Right. In episode 1 of the Fosters, where Callie's trying to get a hold of Jude, and you don't know who Jude is. You just know she's trying to call somebody and she wants to run away and get to this person. Right? So, of course, you're going to think that this is, a boyfriend or a pimp or something.
Right.
And then you see her show up at this house, and it's this skinny little boy.
Right.
Who's got this guy yelling at him and
hitting him and shit.
Abusing him verbally at this point. We didn't...
Right. Well, it was said that he was physically abusive.
And there's this moment where it's so gratifying when Steph storms into that house and she draws the gun on him and she screams, "Get on the floor now!" Right?
Yes.
And you're like, I got chills. I got the goosebumps again. Right? And there was just something. There was something so loving about that show, that these people can take in these children and love them as if they were their own. Yeah. And that's important. And that's something that I think that I want to touch on a show about, alternative parenting.
Agreed.
Because there's a lot of that, and there's children who have stepfathers who step up more than their own fathers, or stepmothers who step up more than their own mothers.
It's true. Or grandparents that step up for the parents.
So, to kind of, I don't want to stray too much off topic because we're talking about TV shows,
and we're running out of time.
But my own mother has done that. She sacrificed a lot.
100% did
for my little brother, and I think that'll be next week's topic.
We can definitely touch on alternative parenting lifestyles. There are a lot of dynamics to families, but I don't want to divulge into that too much because we'll save it for next week.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, movies are. Chris sometimes tells me that I want my life to be like a romantic comedy. And, okay. I mean, as much as we all think about that, the way things, I wish I could have it the way it was in the movies. Obviously, I know that this is reality. It's not a movie.
Fuck that. I want my life to be like fucking Cruel Intentions.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Which part of it?
She loved him.
She did.
She loved him, and
he loved her.
And he ended up falling in love.
Yep.
And that to me is awesome. And he had a hot stepsister who wanted to bang him. What more do you want?
You're ridiculous.
What more do you have Reese
Stop
Witherspoon.
it. I was in Target yesterday and saw a Cruel Intentions t-shirt. I almost bought it, but I'm like, I'm 37.
You have Reese Witherspoon, who's the goody two shoes, and she's, she loves him and she's willing to forgive him for all his dastardly deeds. Right?
I'm impressed. Well, I'm in love.
Awesome.
Awesome sauce. Oh my goodness. Love everything about that movie. Anyone who knows me knows that Cruel Intentions is like my most favorite movie ever in the whole world.
When he's coming up the... Is that the scene?
It's a scene. When she's coming up that escalator at Penn Station and he's standing there with that blue button-down shirt and those jeans.
There you go.
And she says, I'm impressed. And he says, well, I'm in love.
Yep.
Done. I cry from that moment until the end of the movie.
And then he dies.
And then he gets killed.
And then you sit and you're like, oh, like, this is going to be, like, all right, it's obviously the movie's going to end, but it doesn't just end.
Oh, it ends with a fuck you.
Right? She releases the burn book.
Right? It's his diary.
His diary, right. Now, why do I call it the burn book? Am I thinking Mean Girls?
You are.
Jesus Christ.
But no, she releases his diary that has all of his secrets in it. About his stepsister and
she uses her line. She uses Sarah Michelle Gellar's line, Catherine's line against her. Mm-hmm. Because Catherine used to say, she used to have a little cross. Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played Catherine Velmont? No. What was her last name?
I don't remember her last
name. So she has a cross, and in the cross she has a little spoon.
It's a Coke vial.
Right, a little spoon that's got some, can hold some Coke. And she used to always say to Sebastian, when I get down and depressed, I turn to God.
Right.
Right, and she uses that against her in the bathroom right before that scene.
Yeah, she does.
And then everybody walks out on her eulogy, and she runs down the aisle. Don't you people have any respect?
And then she realized what they're reading, and then the principal comes and takes the cross, which is the Coke vial, and
opens it up
and spills it out.
Yep.
Great movie, man.
And that's another movie that people are like,
That and Fear.
Oh my God.
I feel like people don't give Fear enough credit either. It's one of my favorite movies too.
Yes.
It's the movie I fell in love with Mark Wahlberg.
That made you fall in love with Mark Wahlberg?
When they walk into that pool hall / restaurant and he's shooting pool with that black, tight-fitted, knitted, long-sleeve shirt and the jeans with the black belt. Yes, I did fall in love with Mark Wahlberg.
And what song's playing in the background? Really? Oh, I'm so disappointed.
Come Down.
Mm-mm.
No. What's playing?
Little Things.
Is it?
Yep.
There's a lot of Bush in that movie.
Yes.
And I meant the band. There's a lot of Bush in that movie because Come Down's in that movie. Breathe is in that movie. Breathe in, breathe out. Machine Head.
Breathe. That's the name that you gave the song.
All right.
Like their biggest hit. Breathe.
Listen.
I can't. I'm so...
Whatevs.
Anyway, we won't hold...
This just goes to show you how much of a real conversation this is.
Right.
Because we would literally have this conversation just like this if we were on the phone.
So, that movie was ridiculous. You want to know what movie, like, really got me?
We haven't talked about comedies at all. I'm just saying.
Like comedy TV shows?
No.
Or just movies?
Anything. Because really we're talking about movies now and...
All right, okay, since we're talking about, like we were talking about TV shows and whatnot, what show I actually want to go back and binge watch, and I'm going to after it ends, I think? The Big Bang Theory.
I can do that because I've seen episodes, but nothing...
I used to freaking hate that show. Hated it. I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. But my God, it's fucking funny. I sit and I watch like clips on YouTube or whatever, and Sheldon Cooper is one of the best well-written characters ever.
Ever.
And if you ever have the opportunity, watch Young Sheldon.
I've heard about that one too.
So, on Big Bang, Laurie Metcalf of Roseanne fame, plays Sheldon Cooper's mother.
Another show that was awesome that we didn't talk about.
Oh my God. Another moment that got me.
When Jackie's getting beat up by her boyfriend.
And Dan goes to jail.
Yes.
When he finds out about it.
And he just grabs his coat and leaves.
he just leaves.
Yep.
And you don't see it.
Nope.
I think I'll be honest, I think they cut that out. Because I distinctly remember seeing that scene.
You never see the scene.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I think they cut that out. Oh, we got a little feedback going on.
Sorry.
I think it's the headphones.
It is the headphones.
Anyway, it happens. But yeah, that scene where he grabs his shit and he just like casually walks out, or not so casually, and we know what he's about to do, and then he comes back
with a bucket of chicken.
And and then he's just sitting on the couch, and the cops show up, and he doesn't say anything.
No, he's like, all right, I did it, I'm going.
Right. Oh, wait. Okay, so there was another moment for me, all right? And I'm sure majority of people have never seen this movie. It's, I don't even know who's in the movie, but I know the movie. Have you ever seen the movie The Bastard of Carolina?
Yes.
The scene. You know where I'm going, okay? Now,
that movie angers me, but okay.
I have always had a thing for Michael Rooker. Okay. I thought there was something about... He was just so gritty and gangster, bro. Like, gangster, right? So to see him on The Walking Dead and so many millions of other things that he's done. Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone. In this movie, right, Ron Eldard plays her stepfather, who's physically and sexually abusive to her, right? To little, what the hell was her name? Bone, right? And she gets beat up by him, and then all of a sudden, her aunt finds her in the bathroom, all like drunk. Number one, she was drunk,
and her ass is completely fucked up.
Her whole body was like just bruised, and she, like the look on her face. No, right? Like when she's like, she gets that like look on her face, and she calls the uncles, Lyle Lovett, Michael Rooker, and there were like 3 other people who are insignificant to the scene because the only one that mattered was Michael Rooker. Stand him up, right? Stand him up, get him up.
Yep.
And he fucking like super kicks his freaking face off. And I'm just like, oh yes, because you wanted him to get his at the end.
Right.
You wanted that shit. And yes, the movie did anger me as well because it does not end well for Bone.
No, it doesn't. Her mother in the movie was a real piece of work. But anyway, who also needed to get her face kicked off. But okay.
Oh yeah. But that scene, like, if I'm that uncle. I am that uncle. I am the uncle that you put your hands on my niece. God have mercy on your soul. You better go and hide in another galaxy, because if I find you, and even if you do go to another galaxy, don't think I won't hire fucking Boba Fett to come and find your ass and put you in carbonite, and then I'll unfreeze you, cut your face off, and then feed it to Ramsay Bolton's dogs.
That's right.
Bitches. Take note, kids.
And I'll help.
And I like, my poor niece, one time she tells me she likes this young boy, right? So I said to her, oh, that's nice. What is the name of this dead child? And she said to me, Uncle Kay, you can't kill him. Well, I wanted to say, well, the fuck not? I said, why not? She goes, because then I'm going to be sad.
Aww.
And she goes, and you wouldn't want to make Jossie sad. I was like, oh, man, you don't fight fair. At all. At all. Dirty player.
Dirty player. But anyway, we've gotten a little off topic here, and
we always do.
We're over an hour, so we need to wrap this up.
So, as usual, we want to hear from you. If you have any comments, criticisms, be nice. You can tweet us at Friends Talk Pod on Twitter.
We are also on Instagram at Real Friends Real Talk.
I think it's Real Friends Real Talk Podcast.
Is it?
God.
We suck at this.
We almost got it. Damn.
Or you can definitely email us at realfriendsrealtalk@gmail.com.
Yeah,
We're also on Podbean, Spotify,
iTunes,
Blueberry.
Google Podcasts.
And, of course, you can listen to us on
You can listen to
YouTube.
this live back again on YouTube.
Along with all of our other episodes.
Correct.
Next week, we're going to talk about... I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about alternative parenting.
Yep.
So if anyone has any thoughts on that, feel free to share with us throughout the week.
Yeah, we really, you know...
We're actually going to be coming to you from a different location
remotely.
next week. We will be remotely recording and going live from a hotel room in Pennsylvania.
Hopefully the Wi-Fi is going to hold
Hopefully the Wi-Fi will hold out.
Or at least we get good cell service.
Right. If it's not that great, please just bear with us.
Right.
And
if we find that we can't get good cell service, what we'll do is we'll still record it and then we'll just post it. It won't be a live thing,
right.
And we'll do it that way because we can always just do the recording and then upload to YouTube after. We like to do the live because we like to see if we can, we like
interaction, and we had interaction today. Thanks, Smalls. As always, you are the most dedicated fan. Last episode we had interaction with somebody that we actually don't know personally, which was pretty awesome. We'd like to get that, going again. So, feel free.
Yeah, chime in, and if you have a story about being raised by, a stepfather or stepmother, or a grandmother, an uncle, whoever, just shoot us an email. You can also email us your stories. If you want to be anonymous and don't want to have your name out there,
we will completely respect that.
Just let us know. You can email us at realfriendsrealtalkpodcast@gmail.com. And, yes.
No, it's just Real Friends, Real Talk. He's giving you the wrong email address, y'all.
Hang on, guys.
We're gonna work out these little
Real
things.
Friends, Real Talk at@gmail.com. She's correct. As
usual.
As usual.
All right, guys. It's been real. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you.
And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you from the road.
Peace.
My bad.